Yeah.
Hi, I'm David Young from Young Enterprises, so David Young Training, and I'm outside my workshop here at Fingask Estate. I work in partnership with the Scottish Men's Shed Association in delivering training. So this is my workshop that we've built and has a sequoia outside, as you'll have seen in another bit of the video, I'm sure. But what I want to talk about is training that I offer. Okay, so I offer machine competence-based training, and it is for all your pieces of equipment within the men's sheds. It's primarily the woodworking equipment, but also I will have a look and do some of your metalworking with you as well. So what I do is I come in and I will do up to 8 people for the total cost, including the VAT. My travel, everything for a day is £638. And I'll do that for any shed anywhere in Scotland. And that is on the Scottish mainland. Unfortunately, the islands, there might be a little bit extra charge because of ferries, etc. Up on Shetland, you could be a little bit lucky. I'm up on Shetland quite a bit, so we could try and get something worked out when I'm actually going to be coming up as well. So I do with my training, I go through all of your controls, so your fences, your guards, your dimension aids. We go through the changing of blades and your tooling. We'll have a good look at your tooling, because there's no point in having nice pieces of machinery and having blunt tooling with it. All right, your machine is only as good as the blades that you have in it. So we'll have a good look at that, make sure that you're confident on how to set these up and what to do with them when they are blunt, where to go, how to get them sharpened, and what you should be expecting when you get them back. We'll work through the basic use of the machine, how the setup of the machine, working to tolerances, and we will make sure that you know other permissible uses. So what you are actually allowed to do with this machine, be it a circular saw, planer thicknesser, your lathe, sanders, we'll work our way through them and make sure that you are happy at the end of the day. This is not a wood machining qualification, it is a competent base training, and hopefully it'll give you a great deal of confidence to then work and do other things with the machines. I'm always at the end of the phone or an email, where if you've got a query or a question, or you have a problem with a particular project you want to do, give me a shout and I'll hopefully be able to help you out and work with you to get that fixed. The rest of the training that I'll do is in the workshop. So what I'm offering to you is to be able to come here as well. So to do competence-based training, you should really be doing that on your own machines in your own workshops. But it is sometimes nice to come and play away from other things and other distractions. So you can come and stay on site and you can work away in the workshop with me and your friends from the men's shed, or you could do a group of different men's sheds, I do not mind. And we could be working on projects, etc. for you. Okay. This is the Douglas fir that we use. This has been felled on site and it is now being dumped here by friendly digger driver. And in probably about 2 months' time, we'll be getting a visit from a gentleman with a band mill. And these will then get put on the band mill and they will then get planked. Now, if I lift this up a little bit and show you a whole pile of planks of timber, and behind that is lots more logs, and then we have more logs across here. And these logs are a mixture of ash, beech, oak, some more Douglas fir. So this is all timber that's been felled on site. And we then make products from it and use them on the castle estate at Fingask. So have a spin round. There we go, my container full of junk in my world. And then inside the drying shed, I'll take you a wee wander in. It'll be a bit jagged, but then we'll go inside the shed and we'll have a look at what we've got. So we've got a massive amount of timber here, right in front of us here. Some nice battens of oak that have been sliced up nice and thin for doing little display boxes. And underneath we've got some ash and oak as well. At the back, there is mainly ash, oak, some beech, and what we need is 2 or 3 strong lads in here for a week or so to rip the place apart and put it all back tidy again. Our workshop. I'll take a wee step back. Here's the workshop that we've built out of an old tin shed. So we've extended it 3 metres to the front, 3 metres to the right of what the original footprint was. And we have built the whole thing as a timber kit. Got lovely profile roofing on it, insulated under the floor, walls and ceiling. So we've got a lovely warm workshop, and it's clad by sequoia trees. So this lovely cladding on it, once again, has all been felled on site. So I'll spin this around, you'll get a bit of a giddy moment. Here we go. And then these beautiful big redwoods that you see on the skyline. And there's a little bit younger one there. And they're sequoia trees, so the big Canadian firs. And that's what we've clad the workshop with. There is no preservative on it. It's just been sliced and put up, and it has lasted now, that's coming up for 2 years since it was clad, and it's starting to look kind of stunning. I'll have a wee spin round. Outside the workshop, you'll see more slabs of timber. That's holly. There's 2 little piles of it. Got our lovely double glazed windows that keep us nice and warm, letting lots of light. And sorry, I'm going to go back. I do like my doors. I'm really sorry, but I'm going to show you my doors. There you go. Made out of sequoia, clad with sequoia, but instead of covering the overlaps and the veiny edges, we've left them open. And we've infilled them with toughened glass, so it gives us a lovely effect inside. So come on inside, folks. Please excuse the mess on the right, but hey, every workshop needs one of these corners. So, inside the workshop, this is the bench space. That's my bench that we've made here. We've still got to put cupboards underneath and drawers. We're going to do that on both sides of it. And there's, sorry, back to my doors. I do like my doors. And that's the doors on the inside as well. So it's letting in light, gets away from a big solid mass, which we don't like. We've got an ourley. This ourley is from the castle estate, and they're wanting to use it in the middle of their pavilion for their wedding guests to put gifts in, flowers in. I could probably see it getting filled with ice and champagne, but they're wanting a stand made for it, so I have to come up with the design. And yes, you've guessed that, I'll be using the timber from the estate for it. Probably use ash because it'll bend really nice when we put it in the steam bender. So that's one little task that I've got to do. Coming round, we've got more bench space here. We will eventually get rid of this big long bench, and in between the windows we'll build bench the same as what I've got there, and another one in the corner with ices in it, and this will leave plenty of space, because what we're trying to do in the workshop is have this as a place people could come in and train in. So yes, all you shedders, please come along and see me. This is a chair that's been brought in by a customer, and unfortunately I had a bit of damage on it, and they have lost the pieces. So we've got to make up new bits and pieces for it, and probably fix that as well. And then we've got to match and tone it all in and make sure the whole thing is solid. Okay, so there's what we've got to do with that. And it's not an easy repair on that one. It's easily repaired, but it's just not easily matched in, but we'll get there. Okay, so coming into my technology. Here we go, we have good old computer, which I'm sure you all recognise, and we have our laser machine. And on the top, there's little things that we laser. We laser cows and sheep for the Hairy Coo Company. You could have a wee Google a Hairy Coo Company. And it is little cows, little sheep, and they get wrapped with wool. they end up as fridge magnets and brooches and keyrings, etc. So we do lots and lots of stuff with our laser machine. And across here, I'll just come back a wee bit, like you see, this is my CNC machine. So I'm not going to fire the motor up, but there are some stags that we've done, once again for the Hairy Coo Company. So they're already machined, but what I'll do is I'll just press go. So on here, I can get the cursor to move, we've got the start. But what we've got up here at the top, it's 0x. So we've got it zeroed, Y zeroed, and Z zeroed. We've then got our program. So this is our G code. Hopefully that's not going to flicker too much. But we've got a G code, and it is thousands and thousands of lines of code. What that then respects to is what you see there is all these little stags. So that gives us a little route round. And also here, you should see if I can find it. There we go. That is showing us our cutter position. So that is 0 in that position. And we'll see that going up and down. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get it to do one in midair. So I press start, and then hopefully everything will start. So it's getting itself in position. First thing it does is it drills a hole, and that's it then starting to work its way around the antlers. Normally the little cutter, yes, will be into the MDF and it'll be spinning, but as I say, the noise it would make would be absolutely ridiculous for the video. Certainly not a new machine, but my brother and I have put new drivers on it, new software on it, and it works the same as a modern CNC. There we go, one stag done, moves across, drills the hole, and then starts again. So we'll move on and I will stop this. Okay, right, let's go around the rest bit of the workshop. So I started off my life many, many years ago as cabinet maker, wood machinist down at the Gateside Mills. And I started there when I was 15. I then progressed on to doing cabinet making within the Gateside Mills. And my father and I then left there and started up a business. So we're in Perth for many, many years. I was then looking to do something different, so I went and ran somebody else's furniture workshop for them for a little while. So I'll just come to this here. We've got a little copy machine. So as I spin the handle, it follows the template down the bottom, and it'll then follow the cutter, and it'll then take the cut all the way along and give me exactly the same profile time after time. Got another lathe here. So round the workshop, and I'll give you a little view around the workshop and I'll keep on chatting about what I've been doing. So the furniture that my father and I made was all bespoke furniture. We made it for anybody and everybody. I have over the years made furniture for Harrods, Solid Furniture, it was the prototypes for Laura Ashley, and we have made many boardroom tables and restored many, many things. The thing I'm most interested in restoring and enjoyed restoring over the years was car interiors. So I used to do an awful lot of car interiors for Jaguar and Rolls-Royce, especially at the end of 1980s, early 90s, when there was all the madness about the classic cars. Everybody was going nuts for the wooden dashboards, the walnut dashboards. So in this corner, something you might not recognize as a machine is a brush back sander. So any profiles or moldings, you then just offer up, obviously once that's spinning, and the brushes support the sandpaper, and the sandpaper fingers, there we go, that's better for you, sandpaper fingers then go into the molding, and it makes a beautiful job. And there's a massive strip of sandpaper inside this roll. So it's a bit of a fun machine. It's it was made many, many years ago. Surprisingly, it is actually legal. Yeah, that's something that's a bit of fun and games to play with. The sander here, disc belt sander. The belt fits on the back, but I very, very rarely ever need it. So I take the belts off rather than having to continually track them. And it's the disc that I use. And the disc gets used for sanding shields. So we make these shields, and that does the angle. As you can see, we've got the angle on it. And we do the flat. So we do in the region of about 100 of these shields every week. Well, that was before COVID. The tourist industry has died just now, but they're still ticking along slowly, but I'm sure it'll all come back again. So these shields, I'll take this one, and we'll pop across the workshop. And these boards here, we buy in, yes, I know, I've got all that timber outside and I buy timber in. So the customer likes this laminated pine, and we then slice these into 3. We then mark round with pencil, take it along to the bandsaw, and we cut the shape. So we cut the shape on here. That's close to the pencil line, and then I take it and with a jig, which is down here, keep them all nice and safe on the pillar. So the jig there, it gets screwed onto the jig, and it then goes round the spindle moulder and with the cutter here. That produces our shape. Then we go back to this sander, sand round the outside, and then we put it through this lovely old sander here. This white sander. It is 600 wide, and inside has a very large piece of sandpaper belt that spins round, acts very, very much like a thicknesser, but sands instead. Still makes a beautiful job. I've got my manual tracking here for it, which I've got to use throughout the operation, but it's just a lovely machine to work. It must be coming on about 60 years old. These display shields that we make are out of the pine, and your commemorative men's shed shield that was made by the sheds for your annual prize that you get to take away with you. I have got the lovely job, or the privileged job, of manufacturing the ones to be given to each shed. So I'm going to be making some of them over the next week or so, and have them finished for you so that you can have these to keep in your shed. So I'm looking forward to that as a little challenge, so that I can see if I can make them as well as you lads have. Thank you very much for the challenge. Another little spindle moulder at the back there, nice little toy, bit of fun. Another lathe hiding behind there. So that's me, car interiors. So they were my favourite thing to restore. Manufacturing, loved manufacturing chairs. They were really technical, never ever made masses of money off them because they are so time consuming, but they were fun to make. So enjoying your work is half the battle. I was then eventually contacted by a local college, wondered if I wanted to do a day a week. What I'm trying to do is show you inside this machine. We can't quite see it, but what it produces is finger joints like that. Okay, we might come back to that a wee while later. So I was contacted by local college. That was Adam Smith College, so down in Kirkcaldy. That was in 2002. And what I did was I then went and did 1 day a week. Within a month to 2 months, I was then doing 4.5 days a week lecturing between Kirkcaldy College and Dunfermline College. I then ended up doing full-time permanent by early 2003, Lauder College, which is now Fife College, and I stayed there until 2011 at the end of the season. From there, I then started up my own training business and had the workshop as well. So I was a busy lad for many years, but now I've settled here at Fingask Estate in my workshop and in my area. Yeah, I started the business, doing the training. I go around many companies, from Robertson Timber Engineering up in Elgin, sadly no longer down in Seaham for them, because that used to actually be quite a nice trip down to Seaham. It's just south of Newcastle and Sunderland. Just trying to let you see the rest of the workshop. Some of the other places I do training around is Strathclyde University. I have been up to Shetland. I do massive amount with Shetland Council, so I'm going to the college there, Ayr College, Glasgow School of Art, Glasgow Sculpture Studio. Scottish prisons are always fun. I go and do the staff there. They've got some wonderful workshops, but unfortunately, even for a day visit, it wouldn't be very easy for you to go in and have a look. Me getting rid of my rubbish. So this is the workshops from the back. I'll try and get away from the smoke. Workshops from the back here. We've got this lovely profiled roof, and we decided to get it full length. That then gives us no leaks whatsoever. So it is really nice. And yes, I do need to go and empty my gutters out. As I was speaking to Jason a few days ago, I stayed away from the men's shed from doing training for a few years. I did know yous existed, but I didn't know what I'd be faced with when I came to the men's sheds, with condition of machines and people wanting to be approached and told that this is what you do and this is what you don't do. And it was St Andrews, so hello St Andrews if you're there. It was always nice coming to see you. So St Andrews contacted and I went and did St Andrews. I was absolutely thrilled at the response that I got and what the men's sheds was all about. So after meeting up with Jason, thankfully I have been able to do many more men's sheds, and I'd really like to be there to support you. So I'm showing you just now this mess is what you'll be calling it. But to let you know, where my workshop is and drying shed is, was all like this 3 years ago. There was just over 400 tons of spoil and waste removed so that we could build the workshop properly, drying shed and store for the timber, and there's a lot to go. But eventually, we're going to have, we've got the planning permission, but for this building here at the back of the workshop, so this building here is going to eventually be my house. So we're just waiting for the building warrant, and that's then going to get converted. And I think probably a couple of days' work would probably see it into a decent state. There'll be a lot of you sitting there looking, going, yep, just a little bit of petrol in a match, but no, it's actually fairly sound. So once we get this all gutted and start working on it, what I will do is I'll do a little blog. Not that I'm really that into blogs, but we'll start, and I'll show you the progress from month to month once we start. And as you can see, the roof does have a few little gaps in it. So back to the accommodation. I've spoken to the Castle Estate, and they are very happy for me to run training courses from the workshop. And if you want to do a 2-3 day course or a week's course, you could come along to the workshop, spend time on the estate, and you can then rent a cottage. And hopefully we'll have a little haggle with them and see if I can get a little bit of deal for shedders. A bit about me and the training and everything. I am now going to be open for questions and answers. So speak to you hopefully in a few minutes' time. Thank you very much. Bye from David Young just now.